it's an interesting time
Yeah.
in the country, and I feel it. I feel. Look, I'm grateful for my life, but I feel for a lot of things that are happening that seem out of whack with our country.
Well, it's nice to hear that tone because you've seen a lot of stuff and you'll be able to at least share things with folks that will touch people, no question. And can you hear me okay? Do I need to do anything to
Yeah,
make it?
no, it's fine.
No, no,
More than
more than fun. Okay.
it's too wonderful.
It can never be too wonderful, Herb. Do you happen to have your trumpet anywhere nearby?
Yeah, what do you want to hear?
Just we'll pick out one of the tunes. I was thinking maybe "Smile" since cause I was listening to the record. It was my fish tank cleaning music over the weekend, and I was inspired by that jam. So we'll save it for later in the thing. But first, let me put a welcome on board here, and it's just a huge thrill to have this cat who's been part of the show so many times with us. Has just an enormous connection, obviously, to Hawaii, a place he has a home and has performed here for decades and decades, and has a legion of fans. The great Herb Alpert back talking about "Catch the Wind," his new recording. And Herb, a giant aloha, mahalo, all of that good stuff for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I played with the Don Ho one night. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. At the
Oh,
International Marketplace.
absolutely. I played I Remember You.
Right.
I love that. And I met Kui Lee before he obviously passed away. But yeah, I have good memories always of our place in the islands.
Yes, I do too, actually. That was so much fun recording an interview with you there a few years back, which was just a lot of fun. One of your.
Right. And I told you the same story. See, that's what's happening. I'm getting a little older. I'm starting to repeat myself now. It's not fun, I'll tell you. When my friends come up to me and said, yeah, we heard that story.
No.
Go for another one now. Yeah.
Well,
Probably you heard my yarns now. We've spoken maybe 3 or 4 times together. And I don't know if I have anything new to offer.
well, I hope you feel appreciated. We're really grateful for you doing this, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And so 9 original compositions on here, plus covers of some Beatles, American classics like "Smile," "America the Beautiful," "Summertime." And so before we dig into the record, just to set a little stage, you were last on with us. I guess it was real early this year that you were on. So have you left your place in Malibu since then, or have you been stationed?
My wife Lonnie is very nervous about this whole pandemic. She's afraid. She has me tethered to the front gate of our place. And yeah, we just occasionally go to doctors and make up for the things we didn't do about a year and a half ago. But we're very, very careful. She's super cautious because she doesn't want me to have anything happen to me because I have over 1,000 paintings hanging around. And she would go, what the heck am I supposed to do with all this? My sculptures are everywhere. And that's not the reason, but it's been a trying time for everyone. It's really been a tough time, I believe. And I'm no different. I feel that same energy that we all feel. That's making us feel less than what we used to feel. And that was one of the reasons I did that song Yesterdays, because it's kind of a reflective song that gives you that feeling of, gee, are we ever going to get back to yesterdays and the way it was? Not that I want to go in reverse, and not that I want to live life from the rear view mirror, but there's a certain something that we had that was very special, and I think we lost some of that in our country, and I hope we can get it back.
So you're talking and that's a great insight into some of the selection of tunes and why tunes like that one factor in there, and a great reason. But dialing in on a little bit of what you just said and talking about losing something in the country, it sounds like you're going deeper than just this pandemic that we've been living through. True?
Well, I'm 86 now, and so I'm going deep, man. I don't have much time left. I got to go deep. No, I reached a point in my life where I just have to say what's coming out.
Say it.
Well, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to my best. I don't want to be entertaining just for to be entertaining. I want to be. I want to have a meaningful life. I think the reason I love jazz so much is because the real important jazz musicians really they touch into their real essence. They speak from a point of view that is just so sometimes hard to get to, but they have the Miles Davis and the Coltrane's and the Charlie Parkers. They didn't care they really never cared what you thought about their music. They were just doing it because they had to do it, and that was the music that came out of them. And I think when we're human beings, we have to be upfront. I did go to a therapist for a while, and she said something to me that stuck in my brain. And to this day, she said, whatever you do, make sure the music and the lyrics match. That's a bit in the abstract, but saying that, what you say is what you really feel. And I try to live by that. It's not easy all the time, to be totally honest. I mean, you certainly don't want to offend anybody, but
Right.
yeah, I try to be as honest as I possibly can.
What's touching you the most these days? What's hitting you the hardest that's put you into this vibe?
Just the way, we are treating each other. I think there's a nicer way to communicate between left and right and center and progressive and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think we need an ethical revolution. I mean, if we're dealing in an area where truth doesn't really count anymore, that's dangerous. There has to be some type of factual truth, and everybody can be a little bit off the center of it a little bit. You don't have to all think alike, but there is a factual truth that's available, and I think we should be living by that. I think that's what a democracy is all about.
So you're thinking over the course of it seems like it's kind of like a double whammy between the pandemic. We've also just had this division that's made itself so well known in the country.
Yeah, it's unnerving. It's hard to put your finger on what can we do as an individual. And I guess it's the vote, and it's supporting the people that you feel deserve to be supported.
Did you ever think that we'd, because it's almost like when we re-catch up with people who return to the series, it's fascinating because when we first talked to most of you cats, things were at a very serious timber in the country and the world. And here we are again, and things are still in a pretty serious timber in the country and the world.
Yeah, no, it's a little crazy. I mean, it seems to me, unless I'm totally out of line, it seems like there's only one way to get out of this epidemic that we're in, and it's being vaccinated. Take the shot. You know what I mean? That it's proven that it works. Okay, if you have special underlying conditions where you don't have to take it or shouldn't take it, fine, I agree with you. But for the most part, man, everyone, look, I had a friend, a dear, dear, dear friend of mine named, I forgot his name right now. Anyways, he had polio, and he was all strapped up. One leg was in iron stuff that he was able to walk and survive. He's from Manchester, and he missed the polio vaccine by 6 months. That would have made a huge difference in his life.
Right.
And these vaccines have been proven to be very successful. And I think for people denying that they should be vaccinated, it's not just their own personal freedom that's at stake. It's the freedom of other people that there could be, doing something that is totally unnecessary. And I think we should be thinking about that.
Oh, it's a good message to hear from a cat like you, and it's a difficult time, and it's interesting. It's also kind of reflects, we had the guys in America on in the spring, and I always remember Jerry Beckley said this really interesting thing. He said, we kind of all assumed once the vaccine arrived, that would be it. We'd turn a corner and we'd move forward, but it didn't really work like that. It's interesting that you're kind of echoing that, I guess, is what you, in a way.
Well, it could work like that. I think if we were all vaccinated, or 90% of us at least, I think it would.
Right.
I think it would have a tremendous effect. And, you know, Lonnie and I had to cancel 50 concerts that we had in 2020, and we canceled them in 21 as well. And we rescheduled everything for 2022. And I'm certainly not going to go out there unless it's completely safe. And
right, and I think that was his point, was just that you just because this this solution was introduced, if everybody doesn't get on board with the solution, then we don't really turn the page, I guess, is what he was trying to get at.
yeah, I think so.
But the nice thing is, though, when you kind of referenced it early on, this record, Catch the Wind, is in a way a chance for you to kind of comment musically on things. You mentioned that about doing the Yesterday, and to talk a little bit more about when you were choosing both the originals and, of course, the covers, a little bit of what went into your decision making.
Well, the same thing that went into my decision making, you know, 50 years ago or however long that was when I started The Lonely Bull. I like them. When I hear a good melody, I try to do it in a way that gives me pleasure to play. And I always felt that if it's fun for me to play, it might be fun for some other people to listen to. Not everyone, of course, but that's my criteria. And these are songs that you know, touch me in one way or another. Eleanor Rigby, of course, is that famous Beatles song. He says, you got to be careful when you start covering a song that was so iconic. And you know, I found a way to do it. I think that presents it in a different light, and I think it's fun to listen to. It was fun for me to play it.
Yeah, I mean, that and Yesterday, when I was thinking about that with the Beatles covers, it made me wonder, over your career, as you just pointed out, it's been many, many decades that you've had this successful career, and so many people have really admired you both for your talent, but also the way that you've been able to work in the industry behind the scenes. Have you had encounters with the Beatle members that make fun stories to share with folks?
You know, the first time we played in London with the Tijuana Brass, it was promoted by Brian Epstein, who was their original manager.
Right.
And 2 nights after we arrived in London, he organized a party, and we had a party with the 4 guys, and that was fun. You know, they're regular people. And then, you know, when the Beatles broke up, George Harrison had a label called Dark Horse, and it was distributed by A&M. So George spent a lot of time on the A&M lot. In fact, he married one of our secretaries, Olivia. And he was an awfully nice guy and a really down-to-earth, trying to do nice things for others type of guy. So that's my memories of him. And, of course, the songs, I mean, you listen to some of these songs, and how do they come up with these things? And we were talking, Lonnie and I were talking yesterday about this song, I must admit it's getting better. And the story was that, you know, Paul was writing, I must admit it's getting better, must admit it's getting better. And then John happened to walk into his room at the same time, and he heard, I must admit it's getting better. And Paul and John looked at him and said, can't get much worse. So I don't know. They were just real talented guys that was able to express themselves in a really unique way and change the whole feeling of music when they hit the scene.
And it's so cool, though, that people who they've inspired people who've never met them around the world, who transfer their songs into other languages and stuff. But to think that this is a cat who, that was what, your first time in London, and they brought the whole group down for a little get together with you. Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah, that was our first time with the group in London, and yeah. We had just, you know.
What year was that? Like 68, 67?
This was probably 66, 67. Wow. Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then you have this great connection because Olivia, that's like their son Donnie comes from that relationship. And
yeah.
She was yours. To flesh that story out just a little bit for folks, because I'm sure it brought some smiles.
I'm sure the department she worked in, you know, by that time A&M was roaring. So, you know, we started with myself and my partner, Jerry Moss, in 1962. And then there were 3 of us and 5 of us and 10 of us and 20 of us and 40 of us and 90 of us and 300. So by the time George got into the picture, it was already, we were full blown company, and lots of departments. I'm not sure where she worked, but and George came by the place, where I'm at right now in our place in Malibu.
Did he really?
And yeah, we spent some time with him, Lonnie and I, and he gave me this fantastic antique clock that's hanging in our kitchen. I mean, it's like a gem clock, an old clock that he just brought along. And I admired him very much.
What a cool thing! What a great memory to have had him right there in the house where you're at now, and to be able to honor him with those tunes. And you've mentioned your lovely and talented wife Lonnie. Now, "Dance with Me," a song you co-wrote together. Talk a little bit about both that, but also give us some highlights on what Lonnie's been up to over the last year too.
Well, when I met Lonnie, I signed Brazil '66
Sergio
to A&M Records in 1966. I met Lonnie; she was 19 then, and then we became friends because I produced the first few albums, and Sergio and the group traveled with us for the first couple months. I'm not sure exactly how long, and Lonnie and I got closer and closer, and when I don't remember the year exactly, but she invited me over to her apartment for lunch.
Uncle Ben's.
You got it. You remember the story. You see what I mean? I'm repeating myself, Dave. Come on, now. It's making me older than I should.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it is a good story because it was an Uncle Ben's rice, steamed rice with a rotten carrot on top of it, that I, reluctantly kind of ate, but I was thinking, man, this girl, she's not going to spend much time in the kitchen anymore. Anyways, long story short, she's turned into a world-class chef, since the pandemic, and we wanted to be self-sufficient. She's got her chops together with cooking, and all of a sudden, she's not making exotic dishes, but really sensible, clean living, organic dishes that have been amazing. So
it was turkey, meatloaf, and couscous, I believe, was the last time that you were on. What's the latest thing?
Actually, I had the turkey meatloaf for lunch today.
Oh.
She repeats. It's a repeat thing, but it's okay. She's okay. It was good. It has a memorable taste to it. And then, I keep wanting for her to record. I just did a great record with her in Spanish. She has a huge Spanish audience out there. She had, won a Grammy in the Latin countries, and she had the #1 record with Jose and Camilo Sesto and Roberto Carlos in different parts of Latin America. And so I did this record with her that she recorded years back that was #1 in the Philippines.
Huh.
It was a huge record there. And I always loved this melody. So I got somebody to write a Spanish lyric to this song that was written in English. It was written by Ali Willis. So we recorded it, and it just came out great. And it's going to be released in a couple of weeks, I believe. No te vayas, no. I don't want you to go.
Wow. And we're done like remotely stuff. So you guys just did your parts, and you flew in any musician stuff like digitally?
Well, first I got the musicians to do the track. Bill Cantos, our keyboard player, laid down some things, and I had Eddie Del Barrio write some string parts over the top. And, with zeros and ones, as you know, you can just do, kind of like magical things because everything is time coded. So I can send, my trumpet to all sorts of people. They could be in Afghanistan. Well, probably not anymore, but they could be any place in the world. I can send a trumpet there, and they can put it right into their rig if it's time coded, starting at bar 1. It's
right.
A little because that's the way we did it. And it's almost like what was happening in the last week. It's like trying to fool Mother Nature. And we can record something that feels like it was recorded live at the same time with everybody in the same room. and you wouldn't know the difference.
Is that largely how Catch the Wind obviously was put together then?
Catch the Wind was put together that way, sure, yeah.
There's this tasty Hammond B3, it sounds like, on Summertime. Also some really tasty guitar on that tune, too. Who's playing that?
Yeah, the guitar is played by Mitchell Long, and the B3 is my dear friend Jeff Lorber.
Oh, nice. That makes sense.
Yeah, and Bill Cantos. I particularly liked that cut on Summertime. Bill Cantos did those voices, and I kind of manipulated them together to do what it's doing, and something nice about it. I mean, who wants to hear Summertime again? But I don't know. I think this one.
Well, obviously Herb Alpert did.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. You know, I don't. I'm not trying to get a hit record. I mean, let me tell you, man. Here's this thing. I can't believe it's happening. One of the kids that but watches TikTok, took one of my songs from the Whipped Cream and Other Delights album, and it became a huge, huge streaming song. And all of a sudden, I mean, to this day, I mean, I'm kind of patting myself on the back. The Whipped Cream album is number 2. I have 3 albums on the top 20 on Amazon and on iTunes. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's all because of this
TikTok thing.
Yeah, this little fragment of a song that was written that touched somebody, and it opened up a whole new door. I mean, I recorded that thing 60 years ago.
Doesn't get better than that, cuz. It really doesn't.
It's just amazing.
The jam Fantasy Island on there, Herb, that has this really like kind of a reggae feel. Was that your intention on that jam?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I kind of like reggae. It's quasi reggae, you know. I've done a couple reggae appearances on traditional reggae stuff, you know, from Jamaica, and you know, this is just our version of what reggae might be.
Yeah, it has an island feel.
Yeah, it has an island feel. I like that cut too. I think it's a good melody. Jeff and I wrote it, and
you ever get to meet Bob Marley in your years and years of meeting folks?
No, sorry, I didn't.
No, Bob. Who's your biggest reggae guy you've run into?
Well, not in person. I met some over the
internet. But
yeah.
No person ones ever.
No, but you know, we had Bob Marley's publishing for a period there in our publishing company.
Okay, but no action.
I really, really, really admired what he did, the way he did it, and the integrity he put into it. It was beautiful. He was quite an artist. This guy. He deserved all that attention he got in his short life, man. He was special.
Yeah, he was. And reggae's huge in Hawaii, as you know. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And speaking of artists, you're quite an artist, too. One of the things that you do when you're not making the music and you're not painting is you do these bits of sculpture that you work on. And if you watch that Herb Alpert, that documentary, it actually shows some really cool moments of that. What is the latest sculpture, Herb, that you were working on there at the Malibu compound, as it were?
Well, it keeps getting, you know, it starts out this big. It starts, you know, with, I could do a wax version of it, and then we transfer it to like a little larger version, and then it goes a little larger version. Every now and then I see one that looks like it could, you know, have that, look like you could extend it. So now I'm up to 19 feet. I don't know, man. It's a little crazy because what I don't want to do is gum up this earth with a bunch of sculptures that we don't need. So I'm trying to be very careful.
Is this like a totem pole one, or what kind of theme is this one?
It is a totem pole, yeah. And it happens to be, well, it was finished. It's called Wildlife, and it's at the museum in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I have 9 pieces there, the Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
What's a good place to keep them? We can start keeping them there.
Well, you know, there was a huge fire in this area a couple of years back. Not the ones that were happening in Northern California,
Right.
but a couple of years ago we had a tremendous fire here.
I remember
And
that.
I was thinking, oh man, this house might go, and everything in it. I grabbed a couple trumpets and we left. But I was thinking the only thing that's going to be standing will be my sculptures. They're not going anyplace, and they're not going to melt, man. They would have to be, a blaze that would scorch the earth.
Well, hopefully nothing like that's going to be happening. Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to eventually see this 19-foot one that, and you can check out Herb's documentary. You see some amazing ones there. And before we get a little music and wrap it up with you, what's the? I see that the dates now. It's like beginning of next year, I guess, is when all the tour dates are going to finally, knock on wood, fingers crossed, tentatively happen. What's going to be the story with ever returning to Hawaii?
Well, I can't wait to do that. I miss Hawaii. I miss the feeling. There's a certain feeling, you get off the plane and all of a sudden you're chilled out for some reason. You feel it's a different vibe in Hawaii, and I miss that.
So when you coming? Is it not this year
Well, it depends. It depends on what's happening.
with the COVID and?
Yeah, if everything's under control, I'll be there. But everybody scares me with, like, you're 86 years old. Don't go near anybody that
Right.
is suspicious. So,
I get you. I totally get you. So maybe December?
it's possible. It's possible. Yeah.
I hear you. I guess everything now, you're right. Even those dates. That's why I said the dates are. And I see you got the London. You were going to be doing the Ronnie Scott's famous club in London. I see that's rescheduled on that thing too.
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant to go to London, but I'd like to do that date because when we put it up in 2020, it was, and we were going to play there for a week. It was sold out.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 or 4 or 5 hours, they sold out the whole place. I mean,
I hope that you get to do it.
was, and I love playing. Not for the adulation, not for the, people give me a nice feeling when I come out, but I'm doing it because I love playing.
I know
love
you do.
Playing with musicians. I like playing that live feeling of you never know what's quite going to happen. Except, when I do the Tijuana Brass Medley, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to play it. People are going to like it, and that's going to be fine. But everything around that is kind of up for grabs. It's a good thing for me.
No, it's huge. And has anybody visited the compound that we need to know about? Sting, Quincy Jones, any of your big cats come by and visit you in Malibu, or no? You've just been solo.
Yeah, Quincy was at our wedding. Quincy's a man. I love Quincy. Quincy's a real unique guy. And no need to talk about his talent because it's pretty impressive. But Q has like 18 balls in the air at the same time. He's doing all sorts of things, and his brain is active, man. He's living the life. And I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he told me he lost 50 pounds or 70 pounds. He went into this whole thing because he was feeling rotten, and he went on to this special diet. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he's eating, macrobiotics. He's really watching what he says. He feels like he's 60 years old.
Wow.
So it's amazing. He's a lovely guy. Yeah, Sting was here with Trudy, and
but not during the pandemic. Not during.
No. Nobody's been here since the pandemic.
When have you last spoken to Sting?
Indirectly, because Sting did some beautiful interviews for us for the documentary. So I didn't communicate with him directly.
So people set those up.
Yeah.
And we just had Andy Summers on recently. I thought of you.
Yeah, he's a talent. But I love Sting. I love him, man. I think he's a brilliant, brilliant guy, and very. He's a smart guy, and he's a great artist. He was a jazz stand-up bass player before the Police hit.
And now he's making olive oil and wine.
Yeah, well, actually, he sends me 12 bottles every December from his winery, and it's pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure
It's
it is.
yeah, it's really good. He's a special. He has a special place in my heart.
Well, you have a special place in a lot of people's heart yourself, young man. And one of the jams, I was like, I think I told you before we were on the air, we were just talking a little bit prior to recording the thing. And I listened to Catch the Wind. It was my fish tank cleaning music this past weekend.
Oh, it's nice.
And played it.
I know I was good for something.
Say again?
I knew I was good for something. Yeah, music. We'll see.
Yeah, well, they liked it too. They seemed very tranquil during the cleaning process.
Good.
And one of the jams, though, that I was thinking might be and of course, you know best. You know the vibe. You know how to pick the vibe. We've been talking a little while now. I was just thinking, because Herb always has a trumpet handy. If you ever catch Herb anywhere, you know that right there.
There's a music show too. Oops.
Oh, somehow you got rid of our video.
Yeah, fine. I got to find a way
There
to
you
do that. When people call me on the Zoom, and if I'm in the middle of something, it breaks right in. That shouldn't happen. We have to find a way to.
But anyway, so what I was thinking was, and this is a tune that I believe first emerged. It was on the box set last year, right? Smile. Talk about that one, and then and anyone that you want to play. It's up to you entirely. But I just thought when I was listening to it as we were cleaning the fish, I heard it twice. I looped the record maybe 3 times, and I got to that song twice, and it just really hits me when I hear that tune.
Yeah, well, there's something about that tune, and Charlie Chaplin gets a lot of credit for it. I'm not sure what part of it he wrote, but he's one of the writers on the song. It was from his movie, and it lived through the ages. I mean, there's something about that melody that works, and I don't know how you put your finger on what is that element that makes you kind of like pay attention when you hear something that's
touches you like that.
Touches you. So, it ain't what you do, it's the way how you do it.
Right on.
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell all the, kids that ask me, what's the secret of your longevity and your success in this thing? And I had a big aha from one of my trumpet teachers when I said, man, you think I think I might have told you this story, Dave. If I did, would you please stop the tape? I said, I was having trouble playing the trumpet. You know that story in 69, 70. And I said, should I try another trumpet, or is it the mouthpiece that's giving me the problem? He said, son, he says, you're the instrument. That trumpet is just an amplifier. It's a megaphone.
Right on.
So I try to impress that on kids. It's that sound that comes out of you. That's your sound. It's not the instrument. It's not anything. It breaks it down into something that's very simple, and it's the hardest part, to find your own voice as a musician, and not worry whether it's as good as Miles Davis or Charlie Parker or any other of the great musicians. Be yourself. That's good enough. That's the goal.
And you have done it too, and tackling some of those, like you said before, you got to kind of have a little chutzpah, I guess it would be, if you're going to be tackling stuff like Yesterday or America the Beautiful is on this thing too. Can you blast a little bit of that for us, or is that impossible to? I was okay. I'll give you another. When I was 18 years old,
I was playing at this resort in Ontario, California. And every Thursday night we had a meet the band, stump the band contest. And so if somebody stumped the band, they'd get this, rotten bottle of champagne. So people were yelling out songs, and we played whatever songs we felt and that we knew. And this guy yells out, "And the angels sing." Did I tell you this story?
No, no.
Okay. Guy yells out, "And the angels sing." Okay. I played that. I was on a break with the musicians. We were just standing there, and this guy comes up to me and says, "How in the world did you know that song?" I said, "Well, I knew the record, Martha Tilton and Ziggy Elman. I love that record." He put out his hand. He said, "I'm Ziggy Elman." I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's a memory I'll never forget. And then the next morning I took a lesson from the guy, and then oh man, it was one of those moments in my life that was really special.
I love it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's cool you played a little bit for us there. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We are really appreciative, my brother, and grateful to have had you again on the show. It's Herb Alpert. Catch the Wind is the record, and our fingers are crossed that he's going to be playing selections from us and telling us all about it in the year to come, when hopefully the world gets itself together and people can tour and people are vaccinated. And before we wrap it, any final thoughts on that note of the future ahead of us, Mr. Alpert?
Well, I'm always on the positive side of life, so I'm hoping things are going to work out. Just a matter of time. I can't be more grateful for me having the career I've had. As you know, I'm a right brain guy, and I wake up in the morning anxious to make some music, paint, sculpt, do my thing. And I wish more people could have that experience, because I think if you live in a passionate life, you have a good chance of having a happy life.
You always spread a good message, man. I hope you have fun today. Was this okay with you?
Oh, yeah. What did I do now?
Just making sure that you're happy and that you enjoyed yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm darn happy. What was the song you asked me to play?
America the Beautiful.
So that's,
a taste
of it. I played it in a different key than it was on the record. But I thought I could do that song in a different way, because I worked with this mixer by the name of Joachim van der Sag. He's from the Netherlands. And every time I have a song that I think I'd like another twist on it, because he doesn't know that song like I do. He doesn't have the history with that melody.
Right.
And so I knew he would come up with something a little, left of center, which he did. It's in a different, like a 6/8 type of groove he put it in. And I had a great lesson when I played with Louis Armstrong one night, the show I was doing.
Yeah.
And Louis and I played together, and I interviewed him, and I was listening and watching him while he was playing. I was thinking to myself, wow, that's it. Louis' personality came right through the horn, just the way he was. He was a fine gentleman, funny, involved, and he played himself, man. It was, and I said, that's being an artist, man. And that's what I always tried to do, just express what I was feeling, and that's what I always do. So, good or bad, doesn't make it good. Doesn't make any, doesn't make that's worthwhile for anyone else to listen to. But that's what gets me off, keeps me smiling.
We love it, brother. And that's what makes so many people happy about your tunes. And Herb Alpert on Off the Road again. And we're wishing a whole lot of good luck for you with both this new record and Catch the Wind. We're so grateful for you performing again for us and just being our guest. Just sending you huge aloha, mahalo, and just nothing but good vibes for you, my brother.
Oh, thanks so much for you. Thank you. It's been nice being with you always, man. It's always fun talking to you. Look forward to it. Aloha, my friends. This is Herb Alpert. Yep, I'm back to help HPR again. Yeah, I look forward to being with my buddy Dave Lawrence. We always have a good time. But I'll tell you what, off the road is not free. If you want quality, you got to pay for it. Here's how you become a member of HPR right now. Important. It's very important. And a hooey ho to you too.
Big hugs, brother. It's so great to talk to you. It's like you're like family, cuz I give you a big hug and a high five, and I mean it. I appreciate it every time. You just give out the good vibes. It's just nothing but kindness. Thank you, and give Lonnie a big squeeze from me, and say, Brother Dave in Hawaii says aloha.
Aloha. Maka.
All of that, yeah. Seriously, give her my love, and if you're gonna make it back in December, let us know. But please stay safe.
You got it. You too. Be safe.
Aloha, Herb.
Thank you so much.
See you, bud. Bye bye.